Welcome to Leaders Legacy. I'm your host, Varsha Sarkar, and our today's episode is titled Integrated Marketing Communication The Need of the Day. Our guest for today is Manasi K G, who is a marketing consultant and coach working on personal branding, image positioning, and CXO level training. With over 2 decades of experience, Mansi here is a media professional turned marketing leader, and what's amazing is she has devoted a significant part of her career to coaching and training and is proficient in diverse domains, including content strategy, social media marketing, customer experience enhancement, crisis management, as well as reputation restoration. Welcome to our show, Mansi.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you inviting me on your show.
Glad to have you here. So, Mansi, in your experience, why do you think integrated marketing communication is taking a center stage today?
Um, okay, so it's the evolution of the way we market and communicate itself.
Mm-hmm.
So it started with print, and today it is digital. Okay, that
Right.
line is blurring between traditional and digital, right? And see, there was an era where marketing has evolved over a period of time. First there was print, we had pamphlets, we had flyers, handouts, banners. Then it turned into OH, which was your hoardings and things like that. Newspapers came into picture, magazines came into picture, then we moved to radio, then there was television, and now all these things are digital. So it's all about technology, how we have used our brains, and however, there are two things that we should remember when it comes to marketing. One is always your audience, that tops the list.
Yes,
Okay,
obviously.
always. And, and second is your revenue, right? You're doing all these things for a reason, and that's the revenue part of it. See,
Right.
today the audience is exposed and influenced by more than one platform of communication. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
digital alone or OH alone cannot do the trick. It has to be integrated. It's the
Right.
customer journey. The customer takes a journey, from awareness of a brand to recalling the brand, then purchasing, then
Mm.
advocacy, and finally building that loyalty. So there are
Right.
different mediums of communications that are involved in this journey. So and there's so much of consumer psychology involved in this.
Mm-hmm.
So let's look at this. Okay, morning you're reading a newspaper, then there's a small ad in the newspaper. Then what you do is you go back and you start looking on search engines for their website. You go check their credibility. Then you look at their reviews, whether they're right or
Mm-hmm.
wrong. Then you go around asking for reference, right? Does
Yeah.
anybody know this brand? Is it okay? Should we do this? Should we not do this? So it is imperative that all your platforms are speaking the same language.
Mm-hmm.
That is why your integrated marketing comes into picture. That's the center stage today. Also, there are very less resources, the personals who specialize in
Mm-hmm.
this, somebody who knows consumer psychology, somebody who knows the traditional bit, somebody who knows PR and marketing equally well. All
Right.
these things have to come together if you want to have a bird's eye view on this, the larger vision, right?
Yes.
So that is why integrated communication is taking a center stage today, because digital alone cannot help. Again, just media relations cannot help. Just
Mm-hmm.
traditional marketing cannot help. It has to come together.
Obviously. Yeah. Coming to my next question, in the current digital landscape, how exactly do you integrate online and offline marketing channels to create a holistic brand experience?
That's a very interesting question, Varsha. I mean, the answer to this question is very simple. Okay.
Hmm.
You just have to know your audience and segment them part by part. So if
Right.
you know your audience well, and not only knowing their audience well, you also need to know what is their pain points. Okay, and
Hmm.
how you're solving it. If you can answer what, who, okay, then your how becomes very easy. So let's
Right.
take an example. Like right now, exams are going on, right? So we
Yeah.
have educational institutions who will start marketing themselves that students should come join us, because
Mm.
it's time for next year. So when
Yes.
you start looking at educational institutions, let's say we start segmenting it, whether the educational institutions are looking for urban crowd or tier 2 and tier 3 cities crowd, depends on where they are, right?
Hmm.
So your audience will be your students. If you're in an urban sector, then it is going to be students, because today students decide which school they want to land into, what they
Yeah.
want to specialize in, and all
Yes.
that. But again, if you're looking at tier 2 and tier 3 cities, you've got the parents, because they take a
Hmm.
larger control that, this is a good school or this is a good college, you have to go here. So they
Right.
also become. And then the larger section is your teachers, where you just go talk to them and they will influence you. No, 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 not this college. I heard this college is much better. The teachers are much
Hmm.
better. They have better pass percentages and all that. So they become your audience. Then, of course, your alumni as well, right? Somewhere, somebody has to refer you somewhere, right? And people will go out and ask, how's this college or how's this school? And the alumni actually has that standing and positioning who will say this was good. So
Right.
once you understand the target audience, then you start looking at the potential of each medium that you want to look at, right? Even if
Hmm.
you say, let us say, marketing things like OOH, which is your out of home
Hmm.
hoardings.
Hmm.
The potential of OOH is, earlier it was images, now it is digital. So
Yes.
can you tell the story there, right? Then you
Hmm.
have newspaper ads, television ads. Then you have expositions, educational expositions where these education institution can participate. And then of course you have digital where you just go and place an ad on Meta, Insta, mostly for the
Hmm.
students, Snapchat, and definitely the website comes into picture. It has to be really
Yeah.
strong. And with this, you have got PR and media relations, which you need to do to ensure
Hmm.
that you get that credibility. And if you have
Right.
to look at the alumni, you have a series of events. And if you want to ensure that your teachers or other school teachers are talking about your college, then you
Hmm.
want to do the events where you're trying to influence things during a PTM, like a parents teachers meeting kind of thing.
Yeah.
So the question of how to integrate will come in from the messaging part of it. You know your audience, you know your platform. Okay. So
Yes.
once you understand the potential of these, how do I reach my audience to make them understand experience, and how what platforms do I use? Once you get that, how is your messaging? It is everything. It
Right.
has to be consistent, but it is also an opportunity to look into different things to communicate the story that you want to communicate.
Yes. Yes.
Here you need to map the journey. Okay, and that's how you answer the question how. In the digital era with AI in picture, okay, coming
Yes.
in, you can have tons and tons of content for very customized for different people. you know
Hmm.
Say if somebody's coming from this particular IP address, I will show them this page. If somebody's coming from this campaign, they can look at this landing page. So all this, but also remember that because we're talking about different platforms, this cannot be done in like one single day, 1 week,
Of
1 month.
course. Yeah.
It's a sustained effort.
Yeah.
Okay, so how you do it is, it is a sustained effort where all these things come together, keeping in mind your audience.
Yes. I
Just
guess
two golden
you
things.
have to research quite a lot about your audience and their needs, what they're expecting, right? Yeah.
Yes, just two golden things you have to remember in marketing: recency and frequency. When
Hmm.
was the last time they heard or saw your brand, and how frequently are they seeing it? Just two
Right.
things to answer when it comes to marketing.
Yeah. So, considering the rapid evolution of marketing technologies, how do you stay ahead and integrate emerging tools and platforms into your overall communication strategy?
Okay, okay. So again, it all starts with the audience. Okay,
Hmm.
let's remember that the focus is always on the audience.
Yeah.
uh, AI is coming in, new tools are coming in, new platforms are coming in. Let's chase it. No, it
Hmm.
doesn't work that way. Okay, don't chase something because it's new and you want to implement it. The
Hmm.
only thing you need to focus on is your audience. Okay,
Right.
see, the objective of any marketing and communication campaign is: am I reaching my audience?
Hmm.
Only then you can think of, okay, then let's use new technologies if it helps me reach my audience. So let's say in this case the audience is receptive, and let's say they're digital. Okay,
Hmm.
the next question you have to answer is, what is the best way to communicate to them? Again,
Right.
focus on the pain points of theirs and how do we resolve it. Okay, how can we give them the best experience? For example, let us say there's a technology which Lenskart uses. You upload your photo and then you can put
Mhm.
your frames. Okay, and then you
Yes.
will actually see how you look. It's such a
Hmm.
beautiful technology.
Yeah.
But the technology is there, it's great, it gives you a great experience. But can a Swiggy or a Zomato use it?
No,
I
I guess
mean,
not. Yeah.
right? So don't hop onto something because it is new and it is trendy and all of that
Yeah.
stuff. The question is, what is your value add to your customer? Okay.
Hmm.
That's where the journey is, and that's where you need to focus on. And from the point of how do you keep ahead is, I'm sure. all of us do endless scrolling of reels and shorts. So all you need to do is when you're scrolling on content, can you utilize it to your benefit? For example, let us say you go to Instagram, start
Mhm.
finding people who are interesting related to your professional field, okay,
Right.
who are talking the latest. Your feed will be full of latest technologies. You go to
Mm-hmm.
YouTube, subscribe to channels which is talking about the latest in marketing, right? So
Right.
your feed is going to be full of that. So instead of doing that endless scrolling, mindless scrolling, that's a great way of consuming content. Start following the right set of people. They come to your feed
Mm-hmm.
much, much easier. Okay,
I
and
guess there's
remember
a
this,
lot to learn from others as well as your competitors. They are the
definitely.
best source to get your knowledge from.
Yes, yes, absolutely. In fact, most of the times there's absolutely no need to reinvent the wheel. Just
Hmm.
follow what your competitors do and do it. It
Definitely.
will work wonders for you. Of course,
Yes.
customize it to your audience. That's there. That's always there. But you can always pick up ideas from there. Get inspired and do things.
Right, right. So coming to my last question, can you share an example where the marketing team successfully adapted its strategy in response to changing market dynamics, or it could be some crisis, while ensuring consistent messaging across various channels?
Okay, I have so many campaigns that I've done coming to my mind. In the last 10 years, it's been a roller coaster ride when it comes to digital, and so many campaigns that has done this. But I think I want to focus on something that we did very recently. I was a part of Gleneagles Hospitals, Bangalore.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and it's a good campaign. So I'm just going to tell you the story of how
Yes,
and how it happened and things like that.
yes.
We have got Biju Nair, who's the CEO, okay, and he's a marketing genius, branding genius. So the problem we faced was that post-pandemic, post-COVID, okay,
Mm-hmm.
we saw a decline in hand hygiene,
Okay.
okay, which means that during COVID we always washed our hands really well.
Yes, or use sanitizers.
Yes, COVID is gone, everything is gone, right?
Ah.
Which also meant that it increased your communicable diseases. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, as a hospital, we took it on ourselves saying that this has to stop somewhere. This communicable diseases can be stopped. It is something that can be prevented. Okay.
Definitely.
And also, we saw, yeah, we saw that this is also an opportunity to strengthen the camaraderie and the team spirit among the people, staff itself. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a great opportunity for branding.
Right.
So, we were like, okay, whom do we target? All right. So we knew that our audience had to be children because if I go to teenagers and adults and tell them, you know what, why are you not washing your hands properly? I like, let's just go home. Be good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Be good. Okay. Right. So there are 6 steps of hand hygiene. Okay. There
Mm-hmm.
are steps in which you ensure that your entire hand is covered. So we
Right.
wanted to teach this and we wanted to go to the children. And the best way to go to the children is we tried going to the schools.
Hmm.
Okay, saying that, hey, let's do this campaign. And the schools were like, you know what? This is going to be a lot of your own branding stuff. So we'll give it a thought, right?
Okay.
So this happened, and that's a dead end.
Mm-hmm.
As I said, we're working with geniuses. So what we did was we said, let's do a Guinness World Record. So Biju Nair said, let's do a Guinness World Record. Let's ensure that this campaign becomes a Guinness World Record. So
Mm-hmm.
our first thing was this has to be a community campaign. This is a social campaign. Okay. So we involved a social entity, which is our Rotary clubs.
Mm-hmm.
So the marketing and the communication started there. We launched this campaign with an aim. And, I mean, initially remember that the principals were like, we will give it a thought. That's what they had
Right, right.
told us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So we launched this campaign with a big bang where, we had the state and the central ministers come in, we had the Swamiji come in,
Mm-hmm.
and our internal communication was very strong. Everybody in the hospital, I think you did a podcast where we talk about how your employees can become your brand ambassadors.
Yes, yes.
This was a classic case of that. This was a classic case of that. Okay, there was media involved, and we told them that we want to reach 50 schools and 50,000 children and 1 lakh
Mm-hmm.
parents. So
Right.
this is what we want to do. Okay, then we started on the collaterals part of it. See here, we involved both push and pull marketing.
Hmm.
Okay, so we had already approached some schools, and they had said no, we'll give it a thought. There was that little bit of.
Mm-hmm.
So what we did was we have a community group, a team
Hmm.
which handles the community around us. We are
Right.
very particular that we always give back to the community. So there's
Right.
a
Right.
whole team that does that, which is head by Dr. Mani and Chetna. So what they did was they went to each of the community there outside, could be apartments, independent houses, so everybody they knew, and they said,
Mm-hmm.
"We're doing this campaign. Learn. Let's all learn together."
Mm-hmm.
So you had the parents and the students in these places learn, and we told them we're going to schools. I hope your school has actually incorporated this. So they went
Mm-hmm.
back to the schools and asked them why we're not doing this campaign, right?
Ah.
So that is the full part of marketing, and
Right.
it
Right.
kind of worked very well. Okay. At the same time, we're dealing with people. So internally, we started thinking, what kind of people should we outsource the campaign? Should we look at people? I mean, Rotary was obviously involved.
Mm-hmm.
Who, if you're talking about people, who better than the chief of staff to help us? So we had the chief of staff, who's Sachin Sheth, who's the head of human resources.
Mm-hmm.
And in a week's time, he said, you know what, just give me a week. He put together an army of people, like a brigade of people, who would
Wow.
go to all the schools. It was, I mean, it was so amazing. See, because even those army of people, again, it is marketing, it is
Mm-hmm.
communication, and it
Yes.
has to be very apt. So we had doctors, we had nurses who would go and talk, because when you say 6 steps of hand hygiene, they're like, what is that 6 steps?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So you need somebody who knew what they were talking about. So there
Right.
were many people involved. At the same time, you had people who would talk about the campaign itself, the clean hands save lives, and mission
Mm-hmm.
being the Guinness World Record. So
Oh.
that is how we got them to say yes to it. Okay. Now, what is important here is when we talk about marketing, again, you are only as strong as your weakest link.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, and it's a community campaign. And we are
Yeah.
a hospital. We are not like, a B2C where today the store is closed, come tomorrow, and therefore I can utilize all my resources there. It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
work like that. And it's healthcare. You can't
Mm.
take any risk here. So we
Yes.
had the medical director, Dr. Smita, the nursing head, Judith, facilities head, Prem, Simpi, and quality head, Aparna. These are
Mm-hmm.
people who held the fort when we did this campaign, to
Right.
ensure that one, people within the organization knew what we were doing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Two, to ensure that when people went out to the schools to talk to schools,
Mm-hmm.
okay, the hospital ran really well. So that is the strength of marketing when it comes to ensuring that people are well informed. The internal
Right.
communication will be really strong. Okay.
Right.
Then we got on with sponsors, the community event, like Forum came together, ISKCON came
Mm-hmm.
together. Then Santosh Lad Foundation came together saying that, we'll give them food. Forum and
Mm-hmm.
ISKCON said, we can do the events here. ITC Savlon came together saying that, we will provide you with the sanitizer, hand sanitizer. If you're doing something to do
Uh-huh.
with hands, we'll give you the hand sanitizer. Akshay
Right.
Kalpa Organic came out saying that, you're doing something really good. Let's
Uh,
do this. But between all of this, we have to understand it is not easy to go out to 50 schools and
yeah.
50,000 students, right? So we needed a lot of community initiative, and that's where you had the nursing schools we knew, like Grace Group and Good Shepherd groups of institution. They're nursing
Mm-hmm.
institutions. They
Mm-hmm.
came together. So remember that this was a B2B marketing activity that went well. We were ensuring that, we communicated right. We told them
Right.
what would be the impact and why they should be involved. And they
Hmm.
went gaga over it. They just loved the campaign.
So
So all this,
did you do it only in a particular state or all over India?
no, this was in one particular location.
Okay. Okay.
This
Right.
was in one particular
Yeah.
location. So all this was coming into picture until the challenge arose that, the students, when you teach them the 6 steps of hand hygiene, okay,
Mm-hmm.
it was very difficult for them to remember. And
Ah.
they're small kids. We're looking at, probably second standard to probably seventh, eighth standard, because
Mm-hmm.
teenagers are not listening,
Yes.
right?
Obviously.
And the others were too small. So
Mm-hmm.
this became very difficult for them to remember. Okay, and we remember that we have to go there, and we wanted to do it 21 times because that becomes the habit forming thing.
Right. Right.
At that time, we came out with a anthem. Okay.
Oh.
This, yes, it was beautiful. Samir Kulkarni, who's a music composer, he
Uh-huh.
actually ensured that he came up with an anthem which taught the 6 steps of hand hygiene, which means, there was an anthem, it would play, and then the students would actually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's a
Again,
good way to memorize, actually.
yes, yes, it's beautiful. It's really
Yeah.
beautiful. Okay, and the continuous messaging to teachers, principals,
Right.
it happened. Then came the marketing to parents, the communication bit.
Mm-hmm.
So we wrote a letter giving them full information and seeking permission to ensure that, again, see, please remember that here your data privacy comes into picture. We are a hospital.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like we can just collect their email ID and phone numbers and give them a
Of
message.
course.
It
Yeah.
doesn't work like that,
Yes,
right?
yes.
So why would we want to have data of people who are completely healthy and nice? Okay,
Hmm.
so that's also something that as a very a brand which is a brand leader and responsible one, we were
Mm-hmm.
clear about that. So we routed this through the school principals. So the parents got the letter. They were very happy about it.
Mm-hmm.
So the anthem would sometimes play at home, and then the parents were made to like dance around it. So this became quite viral, and it was we were really happy the way it went. And during the event, actually, the logistics team head by Malesh, and we had the IT team to count. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
Manjunath is there, and he would count the number of people who came in, because the Guinness World Record was that how many people can sanitize their hands simultaneously at one
Mm-hmm.
particular venue. Okay, and the last record they had was somewhere in Punjab with 7,500 or odd people. So we wanted to aim at least 10,000 people.
Hmm.
Okay, count that 10,000 people coming into one particular venue. Okay,
Right.
so we had the marketing team involved who would ensure that Bharat and Jyotsna are the people. So
Mm-hmm.
these are people who were instrumental in ensuring that this event went well. We
Right.
had over 11,500 people on that day at
Oh,
particular venue. Okay.
that's huge.
Yes, it is. It is. You had
Yeah.
principals on the stage, you had minister on the stage, we had our own people on the stage. Everybody from the IHH network had come. It was really beautiful. Okay,
Hmm.
and that moment when the person came and said, "This is a new Guinness World Record." Okay, the students, the teachers, the principals, all our staff members, the campaign people who were involved, who went to school simultaneously,
Mm-hmm.
the roar was so huge. The pride on their faces was so
Yeah.
beautiful, right? It was really, really nice. So I think I'm very happy about this campaign because it was not a sales pitch. There were no sales
Hmm.
pitches. There was no
Yeah.
selling. There was no talking about the hospital and what we had as a hospital.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing like that. Okay. The impact was that schools that initially said we will think about it, we only wanted to
Yeah.
do only 50 schools. We did 55 schools. We wanted to do only 35 to 50,000 students. We did 80,000 students.
Oh
We
my
had
God.
1 lakh parents. 5,000
Yeah.
teachers. I mean, and this is all doing this without invading their privacy, without collecting their data, anything,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was
right?
completely organic. And I
Yeah,
guess
yeah,
the success was in the word of mouth, most of it.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. We had
That's
3 crore
wonderful.
views. Imagine, in digital alone, we had 3 crore views of that
Yeah.
anthem we put together. And 1/3 was targeted medical professionals, another 2/3 were parents. So this campaign is an integrated campaign because you had media involved, you had a
Mm-hmm.
very strong internal communication involved, you had collaterals, you had digital, there was a Facebook event page and all of
Mm-hmm.
that stuff. So this is a classic example of how leadership comes into place and how a marketing strategy and plan, how this can be so silently done and so powerfully created. You
Mm-hmm.
execute a community campaign at very frugal costs. You use
Yes.
all the platform to communicate. As you said, it's all word of mouth, right?
Right.
So it was very beautiful. That was a recent campaign that we did.
Amazing. And Sai, thank you so much for coming to our episode. And that was the perfect example that you gave for how integrated marketing communication is so important. And I'm pretty sure our viewers will find it very useful. This concludes our today's episode. If you have liked it, please do like and subscribe to our channel. Until next time.